Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to clarify that we don't have issues with studying the babies who are stillborn or miscarried due to the microcephaly or Zika. And that is happening, but it's another thing entirely to have parents abort and use the aborted babies for research. So, Ms. Schmainda, can information about microcephaly associated with Zika be obtained using fetal tissue from affected babies that are miscarried or stillborn?
Yes, absolutely. And I think when we speak of abortions, induced abortions, and the tissue we get from them as a reference or as a gold standard, that's completely incorrect because the genetic identity of these children are not known.
Very good. I'd like to carry on some more questions with you. Could you describe in detail how the tissue procurement process takes place, what personnel and equipment are involved?
Absolutely. So as I had mentioned briefly before, we actually have a full-time person that oversees a tissue bank, and they are on call with a pager so they know when the tissue is going to be removed at the time of surgery. So they have to be there within 30 minutes carrying with them a liquid nitrogen dewar because the tissue has to be flash frozen in order to maintain the quality of the research tissue. Otherwise, a lot of the analysis, the advanced analysis like genetic and proteomic analysis, could not be performed with any reliability.
Are you familiar with how fetal tissue is procured, though, and the process involved with that?
I am not, but I can't imagine it's any different.
If we could put up Exhibit A2, this is the exact compensation chart for a procurement technician. And I think America needs to be aware of this process. They are paid $10 per hour, plus a per tissue or blood bonus, as outlined in the table below. The tissue is divided up into categories A, B, and C. 1 to 10 specimens, for instance, of category A is $35 a tissue, and it goes up from there, $45, $55, $65, $75 a tissue. So there is a financial incentive for them to take this money or to take this tissue, and they're getting paid for that. And yet, if you could put up Exhibit A3, we have, once again, the consent form that's given to the woman who comes in to have an abortion under very, very stressful time in their life. We have already discussed how this form is clearly unethical because it makes promises to the woman saying that this is going to result in cures and has resulted in cures for AIDS, cancer, Alzheimer's, etc., which is totally false. So women are already being told inaccurate information in order to induce them. And then it also says, I understand I will not be paid. So my question is, how come the woman isn't paid for this?
That's a good question because in all other, we look at coercion of the patient as a very, very severe, very strict guideline when you're putting the IRB together. So we can never promise that there's any benefit to the patient when they undergo an IRB-approved study. And so having this information about diseases that is untrue and not talking about what could happen as a possible risks is also completely irregular compared to
Didn't you in your testimony give an example of some money that was spent by a procurement company for a sample? I'm trying to find it. Do you remember it was?
Yes, $830 per fetal liver tissue sample.
So a woman is not giving any money for this. She is being coerced to sign this under duress with inaccurate information, and yet the procurement company is getting up to $830-some per liver, in addition to whatever else is in the sample. Could be people are getting rich off of this, and yet the woman is getting nothing from it other than having an abortion. I think this is it is just unconscionable that we would accept as America that this would continue on. When women are being taken advantage of and money is being made off of them at the expense of not only that woman, but her aborted baby. I yield back.